Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to Coping with COVID updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. I'm Trey Taylor, and the lovely face you see sitting next to me is Miss Laurey Carpenter. She's with SC Thrive. I've been telling you about their emergency rental assistance program, and Laurey's going to give us all the ins and outs that we need to know about that. Thank you, Laurey. We'll be right back with some COVID community updates. I told you yesterday that early voting is going on here in South Carolina and throughout the country. In Columbia, you can vote early at 2020 Hampton Street. Like I said yesterday, I went in there about 9 o'clock. I was out before 9:30. Really easy process. But here's the thing. As it gets closer to primary date, the lines are probably going to get longer. So if you do want to do early voting, do it early. Just the term early voting. Now, if you live in another county or another city other than Columbia, South Carolina, Google where your voting place is so that you can early vote also. Here's the other thing. Because of COVID-19, a lot of the polling places have been combined. So where you usually vote may not be where you're voting for this primary. So again, if you live in South Carolina, go to scvotes.org and find out where your polling place is. If you live someplace else, Google that information so you can make sure, one, you know where to go to early vote, and two, if you are going to vote during the primary, you know where you need to go. Speaking of voting, the polls are looking for workers. That's right. Poll workers are needed in Columbia. The pay is $165 for the day. You can call 803-576-1519 for the June 9th primaries to be a poll worker. Testing is continuing throughout the state. Go to scdhack.gov and prismahealth.com/mobile coronavirus, and you can find out all of the locations throughout the state. You can get ongoing mobile testing, drive-through testing. They also have some community locations. They have Spanish-speaking people available for interpretation, and also they're giving out masks. I will tell you that tomorrow there are two events going on, at least two, one in Easley from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. at R.H. Geddes Middle School, that's in Easley, and in Columbia at Riverbank Elementary School. Both of those locations will be doing testing from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Another programming note, don't forget that Coping with COVID is going to move to the Tailor Made production page. That's right. It's going to be start broadcasting for the Tailor Made production page. So please make sure you go there and like and follow that page so you can make sure you get all the updates about the coronavirus and about coping with COVID. Laurey Carpenter is with us with SC Thrive. Thank you, Laurey, so much for joining us today on Coping with COVID.
Oh, well, thank you, Trey. I mean, I just think what you're doing is amazing. And the key is educating South Carolinians with all of the available resources that they have. And more importantly, to let people know that they're not in it alone, that there are people out there to help.
And that's amazing when I found out about this program, because there are so many needs. You know, of course, we've got a lot of grants and loan programs for businesses, and a lot of people are having a lot of luck working out the particulars with their creditors, with their credit card companies, with the utility companies. So this is great too, because here they have emergency rental assistance. Now, tell me what people need to do to apply for this emergency rental assistance.
Okay, the main thing and all of the information, if people have internet access, is to go to scthrive.org. We have everything listed up there. If you have access, you'll be able to print it all off. But for the application, it is all done online. The wonderful thing is we have the application is also available in Spanish.
Oh, that's good.
For the migrant workers. And we have wonderful partnerships across the state that have been helping us with that. And we're trying to ensure that that population has the availability and the understanding for this application. But the wonderful thing about it is you have to show, the main thing is we need to be able to show a decrease that of how you've been affected with your income through the pandemic.
Right.
And what we do is there is an income availability, which is located again on the website. And it is, you have to be 80% of your average median income. And just so that you're aware of that, Just sorry, someone was saying hi.
You're at work.
Yeah, I know, I'm at work. And so I be honest, I do not even know how to figure out my 80% average median income. So the wonderful thing is there is a sheet, then we have a link that you are able to go and find out exactly what the income requirements are. But the wonderful thing is it's just you have to be at 80% of your average median income at the date of application.
Okay. So let's go backwards, Laurey. Now, you said people can go to scthrive.org to get the application. What about, are there any concessions made for those folks who may not have internet access or access to a computer? Because a lot of the libraries and public places are closed.
Yeah, what we're doing is since the program has only been released for 10 days, we do highly recommend that you reach out to your local congressman. I know that they have availability to the faxes if they need it, or even local governmental offices. It's all varies by county, but I do know that local community centers, the wonderful thing is I do know that a lot of our applications have been coming in from the individuals' places of business.
Oh, wow.
So that is a wonderful, wonderful thing. It is done all online just because we try to make it, we make it easy. We do understand that in some instances, internet is hard for it to find, but we are hoping that in the next couple weeks, I should say weeks, I can't say days, that we'll make sure that we could have a partnership in each county.
Yeah.
I do know that when we've reached out, the good thing is with mobile phones, people are able to get their emails, and our main mode of communication with all of the applicants is through email.
Mm-hmm. Candace Belton is watching. Thank you so much, Candace. We appreciate you watching Coping with COVID. Laurey Carpenter with SC Thrive is with us, telling us about the Emergency Assistance Program. Now, Laurey, you said obviously you have been affected, your income affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. What are the other qualifications?
There are two items that that you cannot be receiving, which seems kind of odd considering you want eligibility. But if you are already receiving the federal pandemic unemployment compensation, which is that extra $600 weekly from unemployment, you are not qualified for this program.
Really? Wow.
Right, because that extra $600 weekly could be up to $2,400, and in some for that, but that is one of them. Then another one is if you are already in any form of federal subsidized rental assistance, you do not qualify for this program.
Okay.
And one thing that for it, we also need to have proof of income. So if an individual is unemployed, because I get a lot of questions on that. So say that they've lost their job because of COVID, and today is June 3rd, and they're applying for that application. They need to just state, there is a part on the application that states how are you affected. You can say that you're currently unemployed, and then if you have applied for unemployment benefits, you just need to take a screenshot of that. We don't require, the formal statement from unemployment, because with individuals using their cell phones today or laptops or tablets, they have the online access, and all they have to do is take a screenshot of that. And that's twofold. It proves that you are unemployed. And there is a section on it that states if you've been approved or if you are receiving the pandemic extra stimulus money.
Okay.
If it states that you're pending and have not received word, we continue through the application because you have not been deemed approved or receiving.
Gotcha.
So I really want to state that, because a lot of people go, well, I've applied for it, I'm not going to apply for this. No, still apply, because if you have that documentation that states it's pending and there's no determination,
Right.
at this time, at the date of application, you have not been approved and you are not receiving it, so you are eligible for this rental assistance.
Gotcha. So you have to have lived in South Carolina, your income be affected by COVID. You cannot have that $600 a month unemployment. But if you have applied and not gotten it yet, you do qualify.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
I know it gets kind of confusing, doesn't it, Trey?
Yeah. Marvell Williams Mendenhall, thank you for joining us. I'm going to ask her question a little bit later because we talked about this. She wants to know about the mortgage assistance, but let's finish talking about rental assistance first, Marvell, if you don't mind, Laurey. So, all right. So what do people need? They need to go online, scthrive.org, fill out the application, and what proof what proof do they need?
Okay, the proof, we would have to have a lease agreement to prove that you are in a rental situation. I'm going to go a little bit more detail in that, Trey, just so that your listeners will know. People say, well, my lease agreement is expired. If you have a paragraph, most lease agreements have a paragraph stating that if it's expired and both parties do nothing, it continues for a month-to-month contract, and you have to have a 30-day notice. That counts as an active lease agreement.
Okay.
We're trying to make this as easy as possible to help everybody.
Right.
Another thing that we have to have a landlord affidavit, because the landlord affidavit is actually the document that tells us how much they're past due and how much is needed to make them current.
Okay.
Because with this program, you can receive, it is only a one-time payment, so you can receive up to $1,500 for one time.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So you can receive up to $1,500. So does that mean you'll pay, even if their rent is say $1,000, but they had some, I don't know, late payments or something like that? Would they qualify for that up to $15 or okay. All right.
Yes. The wonderful thing about this program is that with the program, say that their rent is I'm going to make it easy for math, $750 a month. They're past due, or let's even go less. They're $600 a month. They're past due 2 months, so their total amount due is $1,200. We will have a payment of $1,500 to the landlord, and the landlord, on the landlord affidavit, it states that all of the rents will go towards rent. So in essence, this individual could be doubly blessed. They're made current, but they also have $300 that can go towards next month's rent.
That's great. That's great.
It's a blessing.
That is a blessing. Laurey, we're talking to Laurey Carpenter with SC Thrive about their emergency rental assistance program. Rhonda Perry is watching. Thank you, Rhonda. Good afternoon to you. So listen, what determines, because you brought up a good point, what determines whether you get the $1,500 or you don't get as much as $1,500? Because you gave a great example.
Right. What we do is, just to make it easy on us, because I have a staff of over 20 that are working on this program, what we do is we have two payment structures. We have one that is $750. We have one that is $1,500. So if we make it easy. We're trying to make it easy.
So you're either going to get $750 or $1,500.
Correct.
Okay.
So if your amount due is less than $750, you will receive $750. If the amount that is due is between $751 and $1,500, you will receive $1,500. We're even going one step further, because we know that in different areas of South Carolina, the rents are different. So say that the payment is $1,700 to become current. We are reaching out to those applicants if they will provide a receipt for $200 or provide a pledge from another agency that's willing to help them, and we have that pledge, then we will pay the $1,500. like I said, SC Thrive, our motto is we want to make sure that everybody has the resources to have a
Yeah.
high quality of life. And so we're trying to make it as easy as possible for individuals.
Yeah, that's good. So let me ask a follow-up question to that. But if they can't get, in your scenario, if they can't get that $200 pledge, you won't pay the $1,500 because that doesn't bring them current, because that's the key,
Correct.
right?
The
Yeah,
key
to bring
is
them current.
the key is to bring them current, and the key is when the landlord affidavit, when they fill out that affidavit, there are 2 questions on it for them. And actually, the landlord affidavit is available on our website as well. So
Okay.
you would be able to download it and look at it there.
All right. So we talked about a lot of things. Who qualifies? How do you qualify? The proof that you need. How long does it take to get an answer, Laurey?
We are working. I will be brutally honest. We were inundated.
I'm sure.
We are catching up on it currently. In the first 3 days, we had over 3,200 people get on our website and do
Wow.
it. We have already been submitting out approvals. I would say, just to be safe, I wasn't expecting that question. I could have got that data for you, right? I wasn't expecting that. I would say, on a safe measure, 7 to 14 days.
Right.
I mean, just to be safe.
Yeah. So can people apply more than once?
If the individual was approved and received the 750 or the 1,500, no, this is a one-time payment. However, Trey, I know you and I were talking before the show started, is that if an individual was denied for some reason, if they were denied, they are able to reapply, because people's circumstances change,
Right.
and with this evolving circumstances and in the workforce, it's constantly changing. And another question that I've been asked, there is no time limit that you have to wait. So say you were denied, and then, well, here's a primary example. We're June 3rd. We're in a new month for rent. And if something happens, but they were denied in May, if their circumstances still follow everything, they can show a proof of a decrease due to the pandemic, and show that they're a South Carolina resident, show that they have an active lease agreement, they fall in the 80% AMI.
And behind on their rent, because that's the other thing. You have to be behind on your rent. Yeah.
You do. That is the key. You have to be behind on the rent. The number one way that we track that, and I highly recommend that everybody pull down the landlord affidavit. That is one of the questions. When was the date? I think it's the date that the applicant or the tenant has become past due. If it's blank and the amount due is the amount of the rent, they're current.
Yeah.
So you have to be past due.
Okay. All right. So you have to be past due, but like you said, they can apply if they've been denied. They can apply again.
Yep. And there's no waiting period at all.
Right. All right. So Marvell wants to know about mortgage assistance. And, Laurey, we talked about this before we came on the air, that I remember several years ago when SC Housing, your partner in this, had a great mortgage assistance program. I know several people that took advantage of it. Is there anything in place for folks who have a mortgage?
At this time, this program that we have is for rental assistance only. It does not pertain to any mortgage assistance. I would recommend, because I know that SC Housing has phenomenal information about mortgage assistance, and I would highly go to their website because they have really good information on it.
Wow. Okay. Just go to SC Housing, Marvell, and see about that. The other thing we talked about yesterday is that this is such a great time to refinance. Some folks that have mortgages may be in a position, if you're not behind, to refinance right now, and that may help you. And like we said, there's so many entities that are helping folks out right now because everybody is affected. Credit card companies, utilities companies, people are being very lenient with folks. So we had a guest yesterday that said, call and find out, see what you may be able to work out.
Yeah. And Trey, I truly believe with you. And in these times, I just want to stress to everybody, you're not alone.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, it's their pride. You don't want to know. It's a personal issue. You're hurting.
Right. Yeah.
But I
A little
highly
bit
recommend,
embarrassed,
yeah, they're a little bit embarrassed, and no one knows what goes behind, individuals. But I just want to stress to everybody, ask. The
Yeah.
the worst thing that someone can say is no.
Right. You got a 50-50 chance.
You have a 50-50 chance, but most people, when they want to help an individual, if their answer is no, I would say probably out of that, about 70% of the time, that individual can refer you to someone else and you might be able to get the information.
Mm-hmm. All right. So if people want to apply for this emergency assistance through SC Thrive, Laura, can you give us the information again, please?
Mm-hmm. If they want to apply, all the information is on our website, which is scthrive.org. And then all of the information is there as well. We do have, I do know that if you go on there, we do have an email address to answer questions. We do not accept applications on that, but that is COVID-19 rental assistance at scthrive.org.
Okay, COVID-19 rental assistance at scthrive.org. Anything else you can tell us about the program, Laura, that would be helpful? How long is it going to last?
We're anticipating, we're hoping to have all of the money distributed by the 1st of September.
Oh, wow.
That is our goal. And that's just us measuring the initial interest that's on it. And we highly recommend, the one thing that I do recommend for individuals, if you can try to get as much information of the required documents to be able to send at the same time.
Right.
The biggest lag that we're seeing is individuals are missing one item, or missing their lease agreement, or if it was uploaded, we can't read it correctly. So that's why we just recommend everyone to try to get all of their information together, because the communication and the email back and forth, that kind of delays it. So,
Yeah.
And we're trying to help people in a timely manner.
Okay, scthrive.org for more information about the rental assistance program. Any South Carolina residents that is a renter that has been affected by COVID-19 financially can apply. If you are behind on your rent, you'll get an answer in a couple of weeks. And if you do get denied for some reason, then please apply again. And I love that you say, Laurey, you've got two payments. You'll either get $750 depending on the amount of your rent and how far in arrears you are, $750 or $1,500. So the great thing is you could be ahead of the 8 ball,
Yeah. And there have been several instances where that has already occurred, and I consider that a big win.
That is a big win
when we see those, especially when you know that instead of just helping someone get current, you're helping them into the future. And that's the biggest blessing, and that's the biggest passion that I love to see with this program.
Yeah, give us the email address and the website again, Laurey, please.
Okay, it's COVID-19 rental assistance at scthrive.org.
That's if you want to have a question. Mm-hmm. And then if they want to place an application.
If they place an application, the scthrive.org, and go through the online system. If you are having difficulties, again, I do want to stress, I do know that some people have difficulties with access to the internet, especially with a lot of the libraries closing. We just recommend, a lot of municipalities have city internet, but we just recommend, if you are having difficulties, please don't hesitate to send us an email. Hopefully we could find a partner in that area. We are here to help.
That's so good. That is so good because, like we said earlier, that not only, do some people not have computers, I think we already know that there's a big problem with internet access in our state.
Yes.
There are pockets of places right here in Columbia, South Carolina, the capital, that just don't have internet access. So if we're talking about someone in a rural area, that may be a challenge. But as you said, give you guys a call, reach out, and you're going to help them submit this application.
Yes, we are here to help. Like I said, I have a staff here that is willing and able. And like I said, the biggest thing is if you can gather as much information in the first go around, that makes it easier instead of the communication back and forth.
Yeah, tell us right quick again what people need to submit before I let you go.
Okay, we would need a lease agreement. We would need your pay stubs. You need to prove that you're a South Carolina resident, so like a identification, driver's license or identification card. You would also need to, if you're unemployed, have the unemployment printout to make sure that it's not the pandemic. And then we also will need to verify to make sure that you're not in subsidized rental assistance programs because you're not qualified there. And the landlord affidavit, because that is the document that we use to find out how much is made current.
Right. All right. Laurey Carpenter with SC Thrive, scthrive.org for more information about the emergency rental assistance, SC Thrive and SC Housing. And Laurey said, if you do have a mortgage and are not renting, reach out to SC Housing and they can point you in the right direction as far as helping you kind of navigate through the process. They may have some information that Laurey doesn't know because Laurey's dealing with renters.
You are absolutely true, Trey. And Trey, I just even before the show, I just want to thank you because you have such a big heart for the community and South Carolinians together. For you to be able to do a Facebook Live to make sure that people are well aware of the resources. If there's anything, Trey, that you need to make sure for the resources, I'm just an email away because
thank you, Laurey.
Because what you're doing is phenomenal. And I just want to thank you for us to be able to tell our story.
Well, thank you. Thank you for doing it. And thank you for coming on Coping with COVID. I know you're busy, so go on and do your thing. And thank you so much for joining us. Laurey Carpenter, scthrive.org, if you need some help or if you know someone that needs some help with rental assistance. Thank you, Laurey.
I know. Bye. Have a good day.
Right. Bye-bye. You too. All right. So if please continue to post and share this broadcast so we can get all this great information out to the masses. Please follow me on Facebook on my professional page, Tailor Made Productions. That's my business page, Tailor Made Productions, because very soon we're going to be moving Coping with COVID to the professional page. So please make sure you are liking and following that page, Tailor Made Productions. Hey, if you've got a COVID related product or service that could help the masses, please inbox me at Tailor Made Productions or email the Tailor Made Productions, TAILOR Made Productions @gmail.com. And let's talk about you being a sponsor with Coping with COVID. Do you have a COVID related message that could help someone? Inbox me at Tailor Made Productions and let's talk about you being a part of Coping with COVID. Let's go to Jesus Calling and read out Jesus Calling for today. It's June 3rd. It's my brother's birthday. Shout out to my brother Charles Smith in Albany, New York. Jesus says today, I want to be central in your entire being. When your focus is firmly on me, my peace displaces worries and fears. They will encircle you, seeking entrance, so you must stay alert. Let trust and thankfulness stand guard, turning back fear before it can gain a foothold. There is no fear in my love, which shines on you continually. Sit quietly in my love light while I bless you with radiant peace. Turn your whole being to trusting and loving me. You can go to JesusCalling.com to get your copy of Jesus Calling. Tomorrow, we're going to talk with County Councilman Dahlia Myers. She's going to update us on what Richland County is doing for COVID-related information. And on Friday, we're going to talk with a doctor at Palmetto Health. They have a groundbreaking procedure that was done on a patient involving a transplant that helped her survive COVID. We're going to talk to the doctor who did that procedure and the patient who survived. All that and more coming up on Coping with COVID. Hey, don't forget to go to my company page, Tailor Made Productions. Like and follow me there, because Coping with COVID will move to the Tailor Made Production page. I'm Trey Taylor. Thank you again so much for joining us on Coping with COVID. You take care, you stay well, and be blessed. Good afternoon.